Alright, I'm back. This time it's a post game. It's Chris versus Morgan. I really wanted to catch this one live, but I just couldn't because this was for, I believe, 1 in the night for me. I think, or like 2 in the night even. And I need to get up pretty early for work, so couldn't catch them. Either way, I think this is a match worth going over, even if it's a postcom, which has some nice additions, or like bonuses, I suppose, or like pros doing it postcom, purely because you just can take your time with explaining what you want to explain. So this is Gen 7 2v2, Chris numbers, or like versus Morgan. I think everyone knows who they are, so they don't really need an introduction. We see more. By the way, I didn't see these games yet, but I see Morgan pulling up with some questionable stuff. Like Porygon, like, the Pokemon are good though. Don't get me wrong, it's just such a weird match, in my opinion. And then we see Chris with some of my favorite Pokemon to use. I really like Chris's team, but we'll see what comes from it. I would say though, based on this matchup, Morgan has the advantage, but not by much. I'd say Victini and something like Porygon. Like the thing is, you want to be careful of the Gyarados from both sides. To be fair, Gyarados isn't too big of a problem for Chris because he has the Genesect and the Zeraora. It's just you don't want to really face Gyarados with a Victini, nor actually what's this guy? The guy called Porygon 2. So something you want to kind of be careful with. We see Charizard as Zeraora. Manectric and Porygon, I think that's a fine choice by both of them. And Intimidate from Manectric, I assume... Oh, the Zeraora's... Okay. Chris really... He brought all the right things. He brought Charizard X instead of Charizard Y, which is decently... I don't want to say predictable, but you kind of can see that coming because there's a Gyarados on that team. Even though you will almost never bring them in conjunction because both are Megas. And you can only Mega one Pokemon, but still. And Taunt Zeraora for the Porygon. I'm not sure if he was gonna use anything like maybe Recover or anything, but I think if he carried Knockoff, Knockoff would have been the better play. But I don't know what he's carrying, of course. A Snarl, one of the most useless moves for these Pokemon, but I suppose if you just need a little chip on the Zard, it really doesn't matter. Zard just straight up kills the Manectric, and then it's kinda GG, because there's no way Porygon can win from this position. So that's GG1. Looking at this, Chris just brought too much strong against something that just couldn't really stop it. Like it kind of waltzed over, if you know what I mean. So then we go over to game 2. I think we've seen this team already. I don't know if I uploaded it, but this is a Trick Room team, and Chris played Urgle Flurgle or whatever the name was. I think he won 3-0, and he used this team 3 times. Morgan bringing the same team, by the way. So that's interesting. And then Chris bringing the Trick Room team. I like the Trick Room team to a certain degree. I'm a big fan of the Porygon 2 and a big fan of Volcanion. Gardevoir Mega, and I don't know, it's just not my Pokemon, but I despise Incineroar, so it is what it is. Even though I think Morgan's team looks pretty decent against this matchup. You know, you have a Victini, you have a Manectric to break through the Volcanion. Even a Porygon 2 can do that, I suppose. I think Morgan should be able to take this game. Even though, maybe not, because Incineroar also is a nice matchup. Decently nice at least, because you don't want to bring a Victini to an Incineroar, then you gotta bring the Gyarados. But then you kinda get smoked in the end by the Porygon, so you kinda gotta see it. Alright, fake out. Didn't Mega because of the Gardevoir. Gardevoir getting crit, very unfortunate. It is what it is though, I suppose. I think, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think Chris might still be able to win this. Oh, why wouldn't you target into the Incineroar? I suppose this also works. It's just... Oh, yeah, of course. I forgot Incineroar was -2. I was thinking, isn't that Incineroar a threat? But I mean, at -2 it really doesn't do anything. And it did so little. Even if it wasn't at -2, it still wouldn't have killed Gyarados. So that's the right play, I suppose. So it's 1-1 at the moment. Now we go to the next game. Chris Bring, they brought the same teams again. Then I'm pretty curious how Chris is gonna try to figure this one out. Since they brought the same teams, you would expect this one to lose against Morgan's team, but I suppose that isn't. By the way, I didn't really make this clear, but this is Chris. This is Morgan. They're not, pardon me, playing under their regular names. Let's see, Incineroar, Gardevoir coming out, Manectric, Porygon. So, what changed? He brought Manectric, or like... Wait, this isn't the same team. Huh? I don't know why I thought this was the same team as this. I suppose I saw the Manectric, the P2, and I assumed that either way. Yeah, this team is a bit more manageable for Chris, even though I would say Volcanion has a really nice matchup, and I'm not really sure why he didn't bring it, but... I suppose it isn't my set of games, but I would have brought Volcanion. Yeah, we see Gardevoir. I don't know what he's really going to be able to do against Gardevoir. I don't know if you guys know, but Gardevoir's Spadef is 165. That's insane. You're not breaking through Gardevoir Mega with a special attack Pokemon. You really need a physical attacker, and the only one I see on the field is or like in the back, is a Zeraora. Zeraora had such a nice matchup here. If I was Morgan, I would have brought, I think, the two opposite Pokemon. I would have brought Zeraora, sorry, Zeraora and Volcanion. Volcanion is super nice against Incineroar. It's decently good against the other Volcanion with EP. And it has a good chance against Porygon too. They got Zeraora, which has a nice matchup against basically anything here. Not preferred, of course, against Incineroar, but it works. But we'll see what happens. Maybe a Trick Room? I doubt it though, with the P2 on the field. I suppose just a Hyper Voice will come out. Snarl weakening the Gardevoir a bit. Oh, a Trick Room came out anyway. A knockoff to knockoff that Eviolite, yes. Something Porygon 2 is very reliant on. Still doing massive damage, even though it's -1, purely because, as we saw, Porygon really needs that Eviolite for it to work. And Porygon doesn't go down. No. I was about to say, even without a recover, it wouldn't have gone down. But it's pretty clear Manectric can't really survive much longer. At 25% from Flare Blitz, it's decent enough, but Incineroar just won't survive this long, purely because for Recoil and the Toxic. The question is also a bit, is Porygon able to beat Gardevoir one-on-one? Because that's what's gonna come to. Like, I was about to say, yeah, it will come to a crit eventually, because... I mean... How do I explain this? Oh, they're now arguing if the crit mattered game 2. We'll go back to game 2 to take a look at that. The thing though is, you could say, oh, this is hacks, this is very unfair, but I disagree. In the end, Porygon would have just sat there stalling out Gardevoir, and it was bound to happen. Like, it's a 1 in 24 chance, 10 moves were clicked. Like, something on Chris's side, something was bound to crit. And indeed, they are right. Morgan also critted something on turn, or like in game 2. And I think they're arguing here if it mattered. Oh yeah, because of Intimidate. And would have lived 2 otherwise. I suppose maybe Chris could have won this if Gyarados didn't crit, but I'm not... Yeah, maybe. Could very well be indeed. I suppose, like, you can like have this whole debate if this was Hex, but in the end it's Pokemon. Shit like this happens, and it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just part of the game, even if you don't like it. And I'm afraid I also don't like it, but, you know, It's part of the game, so we gotta deal with it. And they are both bring the same teams? Okay. Well, I suppose you can see now if the crit matters or not, because this would be the decider if they both bring the same thing, that is. Let's see. Game 4, Chris is up 2-1. And they are bringing the same thing, alright, so we'll see if it mattered or not. And I doubt it really did. I doubt Trickum is going up now, though. Oh, Trickum still went up, yeah, I suppose. Going for the neck trick straight off the rip as soon as Trickum is up. Killing the neck trick, and they're, I mean, knocking off Eviolite. I really don't see Paragon having any form of... Oh, Encore? Gardevoir was carrying Encore? Okay, no, then the crit really didn't matter that much, because Gardevoir would have just Encored it into whatever and won. Yeah, that didn't matter at all. I think game 3, if Gardevoir was carrying that, maybe he tagged it on. Could you imagine? He just saw what happened and he thought, fuck it, I'll tag on Encore. I doubt it though, I think this is probably, like, it was already on there, but imagine. Either way, Chris winning from Morgan 3-1, something I would call a pretty swift 3-1, or a pretty swift victory, whatever you want to call it. Either way, I thought this was one of the bigger matches people were looking for. I was also looking forward to this, it's just a shame I couldn't catch it live.